Hello, everyone. So my name is
Anastasia.
Anastasia, or well, children. My little students call me Miss Anna. Yeah, they don't know my Russian name. They don't know I'm Russian actually, and so I'm an English teacher, and I'm currently running the project which we call English as a Native Language, and we started the project more than 3 years ago now in September 2015, and we started it with Ray. We had been thinking of starting for 3 years before, and we looked at Ray's family experience, and we decided to create like monolingual English-only environment for children. And well, we actually started a group. We started working with a group of children, similarly the way Ray worked with his own children. So in this project, children acquire the language similarly the way, or probably the same way they did or do acquire their native, and in our case, dominant language, which is Russian. So they learn the language like experientially. They kind of absorb it within the social settings we create for them within the project. And so we have achieved, I think, some good results. Well, I will tell you about these children. Well, so the first boy in the photo is George, and he has been with us from the very first day of the project and from the very beginning. And when he joined us, he was almost 5 years old. And in 1 year and a half, we decided to take some kind of exam, some kind of test. So it was A1 spoken European framework, and George managed to pass this test with distinction. It's not the target, like to take an exam, but parents of these children, they do not speak English with their children. And Vova and Nastya, these two kids, they joined the project a year later, and they turned 5 when they joined us. And also in 1 year and a half, almost in 1 year and a half, well, they basically did the same what George did. And well, we're really proud of these kids. We're really proud of all our kids, and well, it's really rewarding to watch them grow, to watch them develop, especially in terms of the language acquisition. When preparing my presentation, I started thinking of some principles or conditions, because now, having worked in this project for 3 years, well, we can work out some principles or conditions, well, that we think are important, and we're sure that actually anyone, all the children, can acquire the language under some conditions, and there they are. Well, the first one is encouraging environment. The second one is actually Opol. I borrowed Opol, I've changed it a little bit, and one parent, one language, but for us it's one community, one language, or one caregiver, one language. And the next very important condition is sufficient input. So as for encouraging environment, well, when we started the project, we knew that we had to kind of encourage children to speak English, and it was quite challenging because, well, imagine a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old exposed to a new place, full of strangers, teachers who are strangers to them, and on top of that all, they speak strange language they do not know, because teachers now project, they speak English only with children. We had to, to reduce we had to reduce the stress, that amount of stress that children go through. And it was really important to create emotionally and physically safe environment. And what we mean here is, first of all, we are friends, and I would say we are actually family. And what teachers do, they are truly loving and caring people. They model patience. They model kindness. We work at making everything we do in the project appealing and interesting to kids. So to make them like involved in the process. And positive emotions, they contribute greatly into language acquisition. So they feel positive. So, and I'll show you later some results we have achieved, because we film children a lot. So we have lots of videos, and I have some bits and pieces to share with you later. Okay, we do many different things with children. What is important here is to provide them with some routine, because they need some kind of plan of the day, so to follow. They know that when they come to a project, I don't like, some people call it kindergarten, but it's not. They know what we have in the morning, when we have like brunch, then we have lessons, and they are used to it, and they come up to us asking like, what are we gonna do today? So they're really interested, because every day there is something new. We do different projects. So here is in the photo, it's a model of lungs, human lungs. So when we studied human body, we took some shoe covers and made this model, yes, and looked at how it actually, this organ actually works. So we looked at the planets, at solar system. We conduct different scientific experiments, arts and crafts projects like owls. Children made them themselves. So we work at fine motor skills, gross motor skills, because, that's how children develop. There is a project that I talked about previously, seed germination project. So it took like the whole month. So we looked at how seeds grow, and it was really interesting, and it boosts language development as well. The next principle we use is like one community, one language. Previously there were some different ideas that, to be honest, I haven't thought of, but I will. One community, one language. Children in our project do not know that we are not native speakers, and we benefit greatly from being non-native speaking teachers, because in the beginning, we have like, these are stages of language acquisition of a baby project. So in the beginning, which is like from 1 to 6 months, we do understand children. So to reduce that amount of stress, we do understand them. It depends on the age, though. So if it's a 4-year-old or 6-year-old, it's different. But in the beginning, we do understand. And then, like in 6 months or even earlier, we stop doing this. We kind of, provoke and encourage children to speak English, to start speaking, to start answering in English, to start asking questions in English. So the next stage is when we stop, like from 6 to 12 months, and it's the time when they actually start speaking English. And what we also managed to do, we actually made children speak English, not with their caregivers, not with the teachers, but now they speak English with each other as well when they are in the project. It was a miracle, I should say. We tried some things and they actually worked. We didn't expect them to work. We didn't expect them to speak English. in the project, but now they do. So the most challenging thing is sufficient input. And well, basing on our experience, I should say that the greater the number of hours, the greater your success is. And Barbara Pearson, in her book Raising a Bilingual Kid, and Olga also mentioned this, she mentions like 30% of waking hours per day, which is like 25 hours of exposure per week. And that's what we actually do. So children spend 4 hours a day, 5 days a week in our project. So we try to make most of this time. And there is a kind of, I don't know, a rule probably that actually Ray wrote, and we have it on our wall. And like it reminds us every day what we should do. So keep narrating everything you or the kids do. Use exaggerated gestures and facial expression to convey the meaning. Look them in the eye, which is really important. When you see a kid gets the meaning, pick it from there and repeat it a lot of times. Do it playfully and be funny. That's what children enjoy. That's what we actually do. We keep like repeating things, and that's so we understand Russian, and that helps us a lot to work with what children want, really. So we do understand what they want, so we can play with it a little bit. We can provoke them, yes, to like. But okay. So what we use to boost language development? So we use drama. We read books in English with children. So here we can see like the Mitten story, one of my favorites, Room on the Broom, Christmas Carol. So you can see Ebenezer Scrooge here. So children also benefit greatly from these stories. They learn lots of new words, expressions, and chunks they use later in their speech, and they remember these stories forever, I should say. It takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of rehearsals, and I just want to probably share one piece. I don't know if it's... And whoosh, they were gone, yes. Of course, parents also enjoy being a part of that and watching their children. So, this one was really great. Lot of ASCO. Yes, Joe. Okay, so we read a lot, though children nowadays are not used to reading much, to be honest. And when I say story time, they're usually like, no, we don't want that, we want to play. But as soon as you start reading to them, as soon as you start telling a story, they're all around you, like looking at you, waiting for what is going to happen next. And we also do like different projects connected to the stories we read. So I also use a story sack. So we made a story sack where like I put a book and all the characters that are involved in the book inside, and it always like a surprise for them. So what I'm gonna to take out of this story sack. So here is a story about the caterpillar. So there was a bird, caterpillar, butterflies, and so on. Julia Donaldson's books are fantastic, I think. Those who thanks, by the way, thanks to Andrew Walkley, who recommended me Room on the Broom. He inspired me. Yeah. We're also around long-term projects. This autumn we did Butterfly Life Cycle. So we did a lot of stuff, working at fine motor skills, looked at the butterfly life cycle, read The Very Hungry Caterpillar, used socks, made our own caterpillars, and watched a fantastic cartoon, which is Oscar-nominated, Sweet Cocoon, although the end of the story is quite disappointing. We did lots of activities. So it took us like maybe 2 weeks. So now they know everything about the life cycle of a butterfly. We also run short-term projects, like, for example, cooking projects. They really enjoy it, and like we made waffles and smoothies. So these are our little chefs. So they feel really positive and emotional about cooking, actually. We also use dramatic play. Here are the photos, so I really like this story. Like playing a doctor and the patient, and here is in the middle, it's Vova, well, who actually is a patient. And the teacher there, Anne, she's a doctor. So here is the conversation. Doctor, what seems to be a problem, Vova? I've fallen in love. Doctor, how do you feel, Vova? It hurts everywhere. So how do they know? I don't know. I don't know how do they know. Yeah, but that's what he said. Well, amazing. Okay, I probably wouldn't show this because we don't have much time. So we also watch, listen, comment, talk a lot, and provoke children, and encourage them, of course, to speak English in the project. And we have a wonderful team, Nova School of English, Nova Baby Nursery School, and we have wonderful people working with us. We're a team. And, well, I'd like you to show some bits and pieces. So what our children are capable of doing, well, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay. No, I think only one more time.
One more time?
Only one. How many times?
100 times? Hey George, how can you get to Anastasia?
Joy. Of course, for 25 years. Because it's beautiful. I'm always there. I can never have them.
Why?
Because I don't want time. Because I made this world. I made this world, and I choose to have myself the world.
It's Anastasia's mom?
Yes. What is it's a mother.
So, tell me about your flower.
This pink and small.
Where is it?
My home. Go outside. And me, ladybug. Ladybug. Yes.
In your garden?
No, for home.
At home.
Outside.
Outside, in your garden.
And sit my ladybug for my finger and this, like this. Look. Yes. Beautiful.
Who are you? In front. Will you take an exam too? Why not? You don't like exams? And what's about George? Does he like... You're scared of exams? Hey, careful. But there is nothing like... There is a person, a man, so will interview you. And why do you want to Paris? Why? Would ruin your house.
We have a big cage.
Why?
No, I like a snake. I want to.
But snakes are dangerous.
I want to you.
You don't like me.
I like you.
Shall I open my eyes? I'll close. Open my eyes. Okay. What's that?
So they're no words. They just tell no. The name of the fish. No. Jellyfish? Yes. Why you don't like it? You like the don't like what you
Thank you. So, thank you very much. So, if you have any questions, so I'm ready to answer. Yes, you.
Thanks a lot. We've got a question from you.
Yeah.
I'm just curious about the kind of, I don't know, parental release issues around the videos. I wondered how you kind of negotiate.
Oh, yeah, before we take a child to our project, we talk about this with parents. So, yeah, they actually, we have these forms. They sign the forms that actually allow us to use the videos. Yeah, we use videos and photos, yeah, and, well, they're fine with that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will bring the microphone to the participant and you take this one, okay? Okay. Just a second.
Do your children speak Russian between themselves, and how do you react to? What's your reaction to this?
The children who have just joined, because this year we have many more children, so of course they use Russian, of course. But those who have been with us for 2 or 3 years, they speak English with each other. So we manage that, and well, now it's natural. It took us a week to do this, but yeah.
So how did you do it?
Oh, well, we actually didn't expect this to work, but it was like, okay, if you speak Russian, you'll get a worksheet. A worksheet like maths or some writing task. Well, actually it worked. It took us maybe 3 days, maybe a week, but then they switched completely to English.
And it's a group of how many children?
Now there are 9 children in the morning. Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, the group which manages to communicate in English between themselves, how long have they studied before they could do that? How long they have spent with you?
2 years.
Right.
They've been in the project for 2 years.
Right. Okay. So when you just first enroll children, you don't expect them to communicate between
No. And we actually didn't know that.
Right.
So we found out it experientially. Okay. Thank you.
What is the youngest age of your children?
The youngest ones were 3 years old, but to be honest, I would prefer 4-year-old kids.
And how do you organize the groups? I mean, are there children of different age, so 3, 4, 5, if they don't speak English?
Yeah, they are all in one group, different ages, and well, they feel fine. They help each other, so older kids will help the younger ones, and those who those who speak English now, they help us with they interpret stuff for us, so help the younger ones.
So if they speak, if they speak Russian, for example, you react just in English.
Well, with 4-year-olds, yes. So if there is a child who joined when she's 6 and she has just joined, it's very different. So she might understand. We understand Russian. So okay.
Do you write your own curriculum, or do you use?
Yes.
You write it from scratch.
Yes.
Is it based on something, or like a key stages?
YouTube, Pinterest. Yes, that's what we use. Well, actually, children will like anything we do in the project. Yes.
Is it after-school program, or it's just like a kindergarten?
It's a preschool program, but now, some of the children have grown up and they went to school, and now we have also after-school program.
So how many times a week?
The morning group, they have classes 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. So the second group now only 3 times a week, and I'm very sorry about it. Yeah, we can keep the language, but it's really hard to progress. Yeah. Okay.
There are some wires on the way.
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
When kids join the project, I believe parents have some expectations. So where do you put the bar in a year?
Well, when we started the project, parents, I can't say parents had any expectations, to be honest. They just trusted us. But, well, yes, we watch kids, and we can say that, like, in about 6 months' time, they start, well, understanding everything we say. And within like 9 months, from 9 to 12, they start answering in English. They start speaking English. But it also depends on the teachers, how much we like force them.
Okay, one more question and then you.
I want to thank you for this project. I
Thank
think
you.
It's amazing. But be honest, do you have time for yourself?
Well, well, of course, it takes a lot of time. The project takes a lot of time. But I really admire Anglo moms because we spend only 4 hours a day with these children, and Anglo moms spend much more time with their children. So, we need to find some. Well, we have a good team, so we work together. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, though. Yeah, but yeah, I hope I do have some time for myself.
Sorry, just a quick question. Is this right that when a child sort of finishes your preschool system and they start school, they then can still continue with you?
Yeah, because there is no other way. We have Saratov is not a big. Well, it's a big city, but there are no schools for children like that.
Exactly. So can you just say a couple of words about this sort of program? How many times a week? I think you answered.
Yeah, 3 times a week, 3 hours a day.
For 3 hours a day.
Yeah, now it's only 9 hours a week. Yeah.
Yeah. And what happens? Do you think you managed to develop further on with this language level? Or
we'll see, because we started it this year. But yeah, it's really challenging.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
And the final question for you.
Thank you. I was really interested in the video, the way that you were kind of intuitively reformulating what the students were saying, yeah? So as the students were kind of uttering little words here and there, there's a lot of kind of echoing back, but with upgrading of their language, yeah?
Yes.
And I wondered to what degree that was a kind of conscious policy within the school, or to what degree you talk about that, or if you're aware of that's what you're doing.
Yeah, sure.
Do you know what I mean? It's
we do it deliberately. We do it on purpose. Yeah. Yes.
So there is a lot of professional thinking behind this teaching and behind these 4 hours a day with the students. Yes. It's not just we come around and what shall we do?
No, hang around. No.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you.